Welcome to the Jersey Score. This video is part 2 of us breaking down non-P5 candidates for potential Big 12 expansion in the case that the Pac-12 is able to lock in a long-term TV deal. And if you haven't watched the first video already, go do that. I've got the link, and then come back and watch this video, or watch this video now and then go watch that video. It doesn't matter either way as long as you watch and you like, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. And so without any further ado, let's get into it. At number 6, we have what may be the most likely candidate for Big 12 expansion in Gonzaga. And now it makes sense for a lot of reasons. It gets the Big 12 into the Pacific time zone. It gives them another school with a very strong basketball pedigree for the conference to stake its claim as the top basketball conference. I do wonder a little bit about Gonzaga and how much sense it makes getting what I imagine will be a much smaller piece of the financial pie from the conference to cover travel expenses for basketball and all the non-revenue sports to all these other schools that aren't very close geographically. Whereas if they have a similar offer to go to the Pac-12, it may make more sense for them. But they definitely, I think, they've flirted in the past with going to the Mountain West, so I definitely think that they would like the chance to get to a P5 conference. It makes sense, helps them build up their basketball and really stake their claim as one of the now blue bloods of all of college basketball. At number 7, we have SMU. Now, SMU is a top candidate for Pac-12 expansion, but they make less sense, oddly enough, considering their geographic fit with the conference. But that's the problem, is that they're too good of a fit to where the conference doesn't really need another school in Texas. And I'm sure the Texas schools don't really want another school to compete with in-state, stealing their recruits. And so it doesn't really do much to expand their territory or eyeballs or anything. And while a decent brand, I just think that there's other options for the conference that do a lot of what SMU could do that are in new locations. Having said that, it does have longstanding rivalries with many of the Texas schools, obviously, and it really does seem like a natural candidate and a natural fit with the conference. So I still included them on this list. But I think the conference is really looking to extend outside of Texas. It's getting interesting now. At number 8, we have Creighton. Now, if the Big 12 is willing to add Gonzaga, who doesn't have football, they may be looking for another non-football program to partner with them. And Creighton makes a lot of sense, because even though they're a member of the Big East, they're very geographically secluded from the rest of the conference, whereas it's a very natural fit with the traditional Big 12 schools. And so that would not be as hard on travel as for their basketball and their non-revenue programs. And so it would be more tenable for them. Again, it's a pretty good basketball brand, and that would just continue to add to the Big 12 strength and claim as the top basketball conference. At number 9, we have Yukon. And Yukon is obviously a really strong basketball program. And football, while it has been down for a long time, it is on the comeback a little bit, but they've been down. They've already been at the what was a Power 6 conference when the Big East was one of the top conferences in the BCS. They've even won that conference, gone to BCS bowls, and so they've shown that they can have success at that level. And so I think they could be one of the programs out there that might be most ready. The reason why I didn't have them higher on this list is mostly just because they are just so much further east when the conference is really looking to, one, go to the Pacific time zone, but I think even just make travel easier. And so why spread out even further? But other than that, I think Yukon would be a great add. At number 10, we have New Mexico. And now this is a program that is probably not realistically in the mix at all. I don't think the Big 12 ever really seriously considered them for either time they were looking at expansion. But for me, they fit geographically. They bring in a pretty good basketball resume. Their football's not great, And there's still another program that, while not in the Pacific time zone, again, you could add them into those late night games, a great bridge from BYU to the rest of the conference. So I think they still make sense. And lastly, ones that got kind of left off of this list, I would say, are Fresno State and South Florida. Now, I left them off. They probably make more sense and are much more realistic than New Mexico, but these programs just don't do much for me. Fresno State, I know there's been all the talk that the Big 12's been talking to them, and they should kick the tires on everybody and see, what the situation would be with any of these and other programs out there. But I mean, basketball, I don't think they bring much. Football, they bring, they've been relatively consistent and often compete pretty well in the Mountain West. And so they it's not like they bring nothing. Fresno's hardly, the most desirable of markets within California, but it is in California and it is in the Pacific time zone. So really they should be higher up. Just for me, they personally don't excite me at all. And South Florida, again, having another school in Florida is just so much further. It would be nice for UCF. They've also been in the P6 as a Power 6 conference in the BCS. They were in the Big East, and so theoretically they should be relatively well set up to make that jump. But they were skipped over by the Big 12 for reasons, and they just aren't a team that or a school that excites me at all. So for me, that's why I left them off the top 10, even though they're most likely much more realistic candidates than someone like New Mexico or maybe a couple others on this list. So what do you think? If the Big 12 does have to turn to non-P5 programs to add to the conference, who should they go after? Who would you like to see them add? And should they go after more non-football programs and really focus on basketball? If so, which programs should that be? Please let me know in the comments. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe the video, and we'll see you next time.